got the OChain spider replacement test. I don't know. Ring-dings, ring-a-ding? Breathe, breathe, breathe. On a fun little project, on a, we've got a fun little review today on a product that we were hoping would greatly improve the performance on this Mondraker Crafty SE. I think it's something you're gonna really enjoy if you think your bike suffers from too much pedal kickback or gives you a little bit of foot and hand fatigue over the stutter bumps. All these little chatter bumps are typically causing foot fatigue and hang up. We have installed the OChain on this Mondraker Crafty SE. And I will say, it does feel like it's a bit softer already. What OChain has done is created a very cool decoupling system that has an elastomer inside these two rings, and it's just trying to imitate a chainless ride experience, right? You can look at riders like Aaron Gwynn or others who have had amazing chainless downhill race runs on bikes that they wouldn't have had great runs on with a chain, and people are so curious why. And when you remove the chain from a bike, you're removing that rearward energy, that friction, that fatiguing force of pedal kickback. You're letting the suspension work so much more efficiently. Obviously, we have to have a chain on our bikes because we need to pedal and get places, but if you could remove that chain for the descents, your bike is gonna ride so much smoother, so much better, and generally have a better time and a faster time. They have analog and now e-bike systems available. Essentially, it's just a spider. You can choose different size elastomers to give you different degrees of cushion, and it'll take it up to, I think, 12 degrees or down to 6 degrees, depending on how much free float you want. So I have the shorter elastomer in here right now for the smaller, I think it's 6 degrees of play, and I would not want more. I think that would just be too much of a downside on the pedaling and engagement. Obviously, the downside to having more float, right, if you think about a really inexpensive hub that's got, you know, very few points of engagement, you've got that big gap between that engagement when you're wanting to pedal and that free feel. That's kind of what this system is doing, just here at the chainring instead of at the cassette. You kind of get to choose if you want more downhill performance by having more float, or if you want to blend downhill performance with some pedaling and run a smaller elastomer. We opted to run a smaller elastomer because we have lots of technical half pedal moves that we like to keep the bike as efficient as possible on, where we need to get quick bits of power down. And I will say it is noticeable that, like, there is more lag before that drivetrain engages. However, the flip side is, it took a bike that was really fatiguing our riders, dinging rims, getting flats, and has really improved that quite a bit. It is a significant improvement. Now, it's not going to take a bike that suffers from that kind of suspension and turn it into some amazing miracle sled, but it is a very notable difference, and one that we suggest riders really evaluate if you have a bike that you like all around, but think is just a little bit harsh or a little bit stiff on chatter or square edge bumps. All right, everybody. Well, the OChain works, no doubt about it. There are some downsides, like the pedal engagement, as I kind of talked about during the riding. Just getting that thing to engage, it feels like a real slow engagement hub, but the upside is a very noticeable improvement on this Mondraker in terms of suspension compliance, smoothness over rough, chattery terrain and very sharp rocks. So the downside on the pedaling for us is definitely livable. It's not ideal, but there's always a compromise, right? And I think it's a compromise that is worth paying for, because it makes this bike a lot more enjoyable on the descents, which is why we're all out riding. OChain is a relatively costly investment. We haven't tested how similar of a result you'll get between just running a hub with very low engagement and this OChain, but the concept is somewhat similar, right? You've got that little bit of free play in the cassette. Depending on that engagement that you've got, you could have a similar experience without having to install something else on your cranks and chainring. If we're just gonna take a bike we've already got built and make an improvement to the suspension, this is definitely a way to go. And again, we're totally convinced. We're fans of this, and it's something that we think if we had a bike like this that we liked all across the board except for in that one area, we would absolutely recommend purchasing one of those units, and think OChain has done what they claim to do, which is very cool, right? There's a lot of brands that make claims, and sometimes they're half true, sometimes they're not, but this is a product that will absolutely do what it says it's going to do. So for that, we give this thing 2 thumbs up. Thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this review. We didn't get super into the tech. If you want, we'll send a link down to OChain's website down below, where they really get into the nitty-gritty, let you see the inside of this unit, etc. We thought you'd rather just know about if it actually works or not, and yes, it does. So thanks again for watching, guys. We hope to see you out on the trails.